We are live. Hello, Lorraine. So I'm going to play Lorraine a song. She's picked this song for us today. So I hope you enjoy it. You can tell what it is because it's at the bottom, but this is Bob Marley. Singing, don't worry about a thing. Every little thing's gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing. Every little thing's gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, start with the rising sun. Three little birds watch on my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melodies pure and true. Singing, this is my message to you. That is all we've got time for. You have to unmute if you're going to applaud.
Oh, that's awesome. What a good start.
It's a great song, isn't it?
Oh, I love that song. I love it.
And my first question to you, why did you choose that song today?
Why wouldn't you choose that song? It's just an incredible song. Whenever I feel, and it's not very often, but whenever I feel like I need a little bit of a lift or I actually want to relax as well, that song comes to me. And interesting link to this. So my grandparents lived life to the full, and my granddad used to have this saying all the time was, don't worry, be happy. And yeah, life can be quite challenging, and especially over the last 18 months. But you know what? Let's spend less time worrying and being more happy.
Absolutely. And that's why we've got you on, because you empower leaders to fulfill their highest business, personal, social potential through sustainable mindset and behavior change. And you are a chief happiness and mindfulness practitioner. So we'll find out more about that in just a second. But I've got a load of LinkedIn questions for you.
Ooh, okay.
So first off, how long have you been on LinkedIn, Lorraine?
That was a really interesting find, actually. About 8 years. I thought it was longer, but it's 8 years. But my God, how much has it changed? You know, I can remember the days when LinkedIn was like your CV.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. That was it. And now we're putting out all kinds of wonderful stuff. We're meeting wonderful people.
Yes.
And doing stuff like this live on a Tuesday, which is great fun. Do you use other social media regularly?
I do. I think, to be honest, I've favoured LinkedIn probably during lockdown and for the last sort of 18 months. But I do have a social presence on Facebook and Instagram. But LinkedIn is by far my favourite. And there's a number of reasons for it. Mainly because it's professional, but also has a real social connection. And I think that's key. It's that conversation that you have with like-minded people that really drives kind of that purpose why you're there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's the social thing that you said. When we talk to people about LinkedIn, it's just bringing what you're doing in the networking groups to a platform that you can do 24/7. Whether you've got a business suit on or you're on the beach, it really doesn't matter. So no, I love that. What do you like about LinkedIn then, Lorraine?
I think for me it's keeping myself totally up to speed with what's going on. You know, so you've got the knowledge build, you've got those connections. You know, I get really inspired and have an aspiration to become always a better version of the person I am today. And the only person I'm going to compare myself to is myself, because that's who you should be comparing yourself to, not everyone else. But actually, I get really inspired by other people who are, you know, facing adversity in life or facing struggles in their business. So LinkedIn, I feel, has that forum. You know, every day I go on there, I see someone with a challenge, but they've overcome it, and their ways that they've done it. So you can keep up on top of your game within the industry that you're in. You can also meet other people doing something totally different, but you also get to see the human behind the brand, you know, which is so important, because if you want to do business with people, it's important to get to know that person. Who are they really? You know, and I think if we only ever have a business presence on LinkedIn, i.e., this is what I do, and we don't say who we are and why we do what we do, then it kind of falls flat. And LinkedIn is really positive, you know, it's positive news in my world, you know, whereas some of the other platforms I tend to find are not as positive, and they can pull you down, you know.
Yep.
So, you know, we are influenced by, you know, where we spend our time. So I want to be hanging out in a good place.
Absolutely. And again, I talk to people about trolls and stuff like that, and I've never experienced anything on LinkedIn, you know, of anything nasty. You see somebody else posting that they get a bit of trolling, but not like you see on Twitter or other platforms.
No, and to be honest, I haven't had an experience with trolling. I have had an experience where people have had a disagreement with what I've posted, which is absolutely fine. You know, we all have an opinion, and we all have a right to say what we feel. And I think as long as it's kept professional, then that's great. I think it's when people try to humiliate you or put you down, and it's definitely not the place that I've seen that happening. So that's great too.
No, that's wonderful. I see Paul's put a question up for us, but we'll come to the questions later. Thank you, Paul. Nice to see that you're here. So how much time do you spend on LinkedIn, Lorraine, daily?
I would say an hour. So generally speaking, I would always spend about half an hour first thing in the morning after I've done my normal daily routine, and then I'll check in sort of lunchtime. If I feel that I want to kind of check in at night, I might put in some additional time, but it's an hour generally most days. I do try to kind of come off social media at the weekends, but generally speaking, Monday to Friday, it's at least an hour, because I think it's important. You've got to be out there showing your presence, but also having those conversations with people.
Yeah, exactly. And you're because you're always there, you're front of mind. People don't wake up every morning and go, "Oh, I'm going to need a happiness coach."
No.
But when they do, because you're always there, who are they going to go to?
Yeah, and that's really important part, actually, Ashley, is about that. You know, sometimes some people aren't ready at this precise moment to hear that message, and some people get really almost, I suppose, sort of disappointed that they don't get likes or comments or anything like that. But people are still watching, so just keep it up. You know, don't ever lose faith that people haven't heard you or seen you. They have, because I've been proof of that.
Yeah, that's if you're happy to share that story, because you were putting out some videos, weren't you? If you're happy to share that story, that would be great to hear.
Yeah, so after doing your course, actually, it inspired me to do something a little bit different. So I produced a set of 5 mini videos all about mind health. And I cut this hour video actually just into little 2-minute chunks with some key messages in, put it out every day, Monday to Friday. And it didn't have as much engagement as I was probably hoping for. And again, that's another key thing actually there about actually our expectations. But generally speaking, I thought, oh, well, I won't bother doing that again. But I ended up landing a contract with a brand new organization just for them listening into those videos.
Yeah, so that's the thing. If you're listening back on the podcast, you wouldn't have seen me, you wouldn't have heard me nodding. But yeah, absolutely. What are our expectations on LinkedIn and what is reality are two different things, and sometimes they can be poles apart. But like you've just illustrated, just doing something is better than doing nothing, and you never know who's watching those videos. And the thing is, when you see the numbers come back and it says the views, we don't know who's viewed it.
Yeah,
we know that it's been viewed, and again, we don't know if it's been viewed for 10 seconds or 2 minutes. So you said 2-minute videos, so we don't know any of that either. But because you're doing it, you know, out of all the happiness coaches there are, you're going to be one of the top ones putting out content. So who's going to float to the top?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, that's superb.
We set such high expectations. I think sometimes, if you were to put a post out, it just needs one person, but we're kind of expecting thousands, just because other people that have had a following for 20 years, they're getting 1 million views, and you're like, why don't I get 1 million views? Well, it's taken them 20 years to get there. So have patience, and it will come.
But it's already working for you. You're already getting business from LinkedIn. So
yeah,
that's wonderful. When have you found the best time to post your content?
I think first thing in the morning. I think because, generally speaking, even though people have changed probably their routine from post the pandemic, I think generally people still have that morning routine. So I think, that's a good time. And interestingly, even though I tend to avoid social media, I tend to find Sundays is actually a really good time to put posts out on LinkedIn around 6 o'clock. So first thing in the morning.
Is that 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. on a Sunday, Lorraine?
6 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've found really good interaction actually on Sundays when I've felt like I wanted to get a value message out. That's going to kind of help, again, my clients, because, again, that's a huge change for me in my mindset, because I used to put so much stuff out, probably not as organized as I should be, but actually now it's all about the value that people will see.
Yes,
and
indeed.
how can it help them? Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So thanks for all the LinkedIn answers there. Do you want to, in a nutshell, what you actually do so that people watching, listening can know what you get up to? Because happiness coach, what's that then?
So I kind of consider myself like working in that wellness sector, and we know that when we're happy, we're more successful. I think some people say, when I become successful, I'll be happy. And it is so wrong.
No.
So I've learned the hard way, because I thought that actually that was the truth, that I had to be successful to be happy. And I was proven wrong time and time and time again for pretty much most of my life. So when I changed my own direction in life a few years ago, I can't wait now to kind of meet people and help them to discover that truth. Speak our truth, but also own our truth. But also, how do we become happy? We actually are born happy.
Yeah.
We just learn to become unhappy. So I think through my own, I suppose, adversities and life, life is full of them. It's empowered me to then help others, because I feel, and this is the same for every single person that's now here listening, is whatever you learn for a reason. And the most important part is sharing your learns, because we can all learn so much from other people. We cannot live this life on our own. And, that was quite a hard thing for me to kind of, I suppose, swallow a few years ago, because I'm a fiercely independent woman. But actually, I had to allow others to help me. So now I've accepted that help. I'm obviously there to help everybody as much as I can, and when they're ready. And that's a key as well, is, when someone offered me help probably 9 years ago, I didn't accept it.
Because you weren't ready.
Yeah. So I help people to, I suppose I'm planting the seeds today that may not grow for that person for another 5-10 years. So I'm showing up every day to kind of say that I'm here and I'm ready when you are. And, some people find it really scary when you talk about transformation, coaching, and all those other things that come as part of what I do. But it's so empowering when you can just let go and allow someone else to kind of give you that navigation or guidance, because a good coach doesn't tell you what to do or how to live your life. They're there to listen. They're there to kind of guide you, and they're there for you to get the answers out of your head, because you have the answers. I don't. I'm just a coach that's going to help facilitate you to find what it is that you need. And accountability. I think people fell on goals because they don't hold themselves fully accountable, they're not responsible, and they're not committed. And so a coach will be there and, you know, can be quite fierce, you know, like knocking on their door saying, what have you done? So I suppose there's a, you know, an element for me where I help you to keep focused, keep that clarity of mind, keep you accountable, make sure you're responsible, and bug you as much as you need bugging.
Absolutely. So is there anybody that you specifically help, or is it anybody, or is it everybody? Where are you? Do you have a niche?
This was a hard one years ago when I changed kind of from corporate world to this world. But actually there is a theme, and it is people hit that midpoint in life, and it might be through a significant event's happened in someone's life, trauma. It could be a divorce. It could be, you know, they've lost their job. It could be that their, you know, their levels or generations above have gone. And so you kind of have that moment where you're thinking, is this what life is really about? What else? You know, I'm bored, I'm stuck, I'm lost, I'm depressed, or I'm not happy. And therefore I tend to deal with that midpoint. And I'd probably say initially there was more men. Actually, through lockdown, there's been more women, but it started to come back the other way as well, which is great, because we know, Ashley, that men find it harder to come forward if they're suffering or if they feel that they want help, because, you know, it's typically how a man, you know, the way that our evolution has happened. So yeah, it's great to see that, you know, we are starting to see more men coming forward, even for things like stress management. You know, it's like, I'm not stressed, but you can see that they are, you know, they are stressed. So it's kind of that midpoint. However, I have coached people as young as 8 and as old as 85.
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. We haven't rehearsed this, but I'm going to show this on the screen now, because next week we have the wonderful Matt Young from Who Needs Instructions podcast, and he's all about men's health and all about that. So it's great that you've just brought that up. So yeah, he's on next week. So I don't need to give him a plug at the end, because I've just told everybody now. We've already gone over the 15 minutes, Lorraine. What do you do when you're not working and when you're not doing LinkedIn?
I don't think I ever really switch off from the happiness side, Ashley. I think it's really important that you're a being. I think the people that tend to have this separation of mind, i.e. I work and then I play, I think when you have a being, it makes life a lot easier and you have more energy to do it. So I practice what I preach. I didn't used to. I was very much in contradiction to myself, but actually I live what I ask my clients to do. So things like self-care, self-compassion, but also compassionate to other people. And, you know, again, I am work in progress. You know, I am not perfect and I never want to be, but I'm always working towards, you know, what else can I do to help myself, but also, even more important, help others.
Ah, fantastic. That is perfect. That's perfect. We've got a question from the floor. Paul has said, what was your best LinkedIn learn during lockdown? Great question, Paul. Thank you for that.
Oh, yeah, it is a great question. LinkedIn Learn. I think, to be honest, it's about that conversation, Paul. I was using the platform so wrong. You know, I was literally putting out sales posts. I was putting out content that was quite weak. I wasn't really interacting. I was just putting my stuff out. So my biggest learn was, this is a online networking platform. Yep. Social, have conversations with people, build trust, build meaningful connections, add value to other people's posts. Definitely connect with people like you that do the same as you, because you can all learn from each other, and never have that fear of putting something out. You know, I would hold back because it was like, we're in a pandemic. People don't want to buy stuff. People will always buy stuff if you're adding value. So yeah, don't get in your own way. That's the big thing. Don't get in your own way. People need you, so show up.
No, exactly. That's a great maxim to have, and you don't sell, just tell people things that they want to hear, and educate them. Finally, what tip would you give your 16-year-old self, Lorraine?
Don't sweat small stuff.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Yeah.
It kind of goes back to the song choice, you know, don't worry, be happy. You know, if you think about, for every 60 seconds that we're angry, sad, you know, we're feeling at dis-ease with ourselves, we're losing happiness in our life. And we all know that when we have that happiness within us, we can achieve so much more. And yes, there are times when the other emotions need to be there, in a sadness, or, you know, feeling the emotion, but don't stay there. Emotions are fleeting. They're not meant to be there forever. And so it's about embracing life, living to the max, because, you know, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow.
Absolutely. Nobody knows, do they? Absolutely nobody knows. You've been an absolute star, Lorraine. It's always lovely talking to you. Always lovely to see your smiley face. And so if people want to get hold of you, what's the best way?
LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
Yeah, drop me a message, you know. Yeah, all my details are on there. So I would love to have a conversation. And, you know, there is no harm in just reaching out. You know, take that first step, because, you know, it could be a life changer for you, because I know when I accepted help, it was a life changer for me.
No, absolutely perfect. That's absolutely wonderful. And yeah, just reach out to Lorraine. She's wonderful, and she'll be able to help you. Guys, thank you so much for watching today. Don't forget, next week we've got Matt Young. But until then, thank you very much for joining in. Thank you very much, Lorraine. It's been lovely to have you on. And goodbye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Cheerio.